Welcome to Bright and Ambitious, a podcast dedicated to helping you write, revise, and publish your next story. I'm your host, Kailey Bright.
And I'm your producer, Joel Seymour.
This is honestly a very fun but informative episode.
Is it now?
Yeah, because we get to talk to Rebecca Garner, who is a former NDP author like myself.
Yeah, both of your books went through the same process, and you wrote and published your first books around the same time, right?
Yeah, I would say around the same time.
Yes, and that's something that y'all discuss in the episode. But before we talk about what else is in the episode, who is
Rebecca Garner?
Yes.
She's the author of Why My Boobs Won't Grow and Other Annoyances, as well as the sequel novel, Dear Boyfriend and Other High School Dilemmas. Third one pending.
Yeah, third one pending, but it's part of all one big series.
Yeah, the Emma Bishop series.
Yeah.
I really wanted to talk to Rebecca because not only was she someone that published with me traditionally with NDP and then transitioned over to self-publishing, she also has her own audiobook, which is something that I definitely want to delve into the future.
Yeah, she had some really helpful tips for us with that.
She did. I made sure to get those tips. I was very eager to learn how you could self-publish audiobooks.
Yeah. So y'all talked about that. You talked about her inspirations for the book, but you also talked about how her book was banned.
Yes, that was something else I really wanted to highlight because I don't know any other author personally who has been rejected from participating in an event. I know of very well-known authors who have been banned in libraries.
Sure.
But I was very shocked for a middle grade story to not be allowed at a book event.
Yeah, I think it was really helpful to hear how she dealt with that and her general attitude in how she was able to respond in a positive light and make the most of it.
Absolutely. Hey, Rebecca.
Hi.
Also, hello. Welcome to the cat behind you.
Oh, yes. That's Elvis.
Oh my gosh. It's from the story.
Yes, it is. It's the same cat.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
He thinks this is his chair. Like, I get up for half a second during the workday, and he's already trying to take it over. So he's like, excuse me, ma'am.
Understandable. I'm glad that you were able to chat today about your books. I guess the first thing I wanted to start talking about is on your social media, you're very consistent about how you wanted to write this for your teen self. And so I was just very curious about why has this been a passion that has stayed with you all these years?
I love that question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that before. I think it's been very healing for me. You know, being a teenager is not easy for anybody. And I've always just had this very nostalgic outlook, I guess. I have always thought back upon my teenage self and have always worked to try to make her proud and, sometimes think about what she would think or what she would say about the things that I'm doing. And specifically with my books, I wanted to write something that would have made me feel seen when I was a teenager. And also, that it was also a dream of mine, even, from back then. So it's not only healing, but it's also truly just a dream come true. It was something that I didn't dare to believe I could make come true for a long time, but here we are.
So when you say, this was something you didn't think would happen, would it be okay if I asked how old you were when you published your first book?
Yes, of course. So, yes, I published Why Won't My Boobs Grow, in May of 2022. So I was 33.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yes.
That's literally 20 years after the fact, and you've been like,
Oh my
I
gosh,
know.
yes. That's so true. I never really thought about the fact that it was like 20 years. And it's funny too, sometimes when I'll speak at like high schools or libraries or things like that to teenagers about writing, and a lot of times I start with where my journey began, which I always start with being 13. And I never realized that it was exactly 20 years from that to when I first published my first book. So, wow, that's so eye-opening. Thank you for making me realize that.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. When I read Why Won't My Boobs Grow, I guess I clumped it into like middle grade fiction. Would you consider it more young adult, or is it more like a blur between the two?
I think it's a blurry line because a lot of, and this is kind of a bone I have to pick with the young adult genre. And I'm going to go off on a slight tangent here. So I used to be a middle school teacher. And when I was getting my degree, and I told people my degree was in elementary education, they'd be like, oh, so you want to teach like, kindergarten, first grade? And I was like, oh, no. And then they're, oh, so high school? And I was like, no, I teach middle school. And people are like, oh, why? Which is fine. But my point here is that it's such like a forgotten age. And I think a lot of people just like kind of like want to black it out. Like I said, like being a teenager is hard. Going through puberty is really hard. But it feels like an age that often just gets brushed over. That there's this jump from middle grade Babysitter's Club into the Hunger Games,
Right,
or like that's not a direct correlation because the Hunger Games is obviously like dystopian, but you know what I mean? It goes,
but there was a lot.
Yeah. It goes from being, 11 and 12 to being 18. And what about those experiences of being 13, 14, 15, of having your first kiss, getting your first period, wondering if your boobs are ever going to grow? Those are still such important experiences. And I wanted to write something that spotlighted that age. So that said, I do think it straddles the line a little bit of middle grade. I think it's a little bit mature for middle grade, but it's a little bit like, I've heard people describe it as young adults, young YA.
Got you. Okay, yeah. Because like, it was one of those things I wasn't quite sure about because I'm a little bit jealous of Emma in some instances because like I didn't go on a field trip to learn about sex ed. Like I lived in the deep South, and so it was very much like the PE teacher doesn't even want to get into it right now. Like they just have to talk for like maybe a week or two. She had a whole trip that she didn't even want to go on.
Yeah. They're fun experiences. And, I went on a very similar field trip when, I was in middle school. And so obviously it was inspired by that, but also like keeping it light. Like, these are
right.
We need to talk about them. They're important. Like we shouldn't be embarrassed about it. But as a 13, 14-year-old kid, you're like, excuse, you want me to say what? Like,
I know, that scene was so good. So going into your characters, and especially with finding out about Albus being real, like what are the like inspirations for these experiences and these characters?
Absolutely. Oh, so much of it is inspired by my own experiences and the people in my life. Emma is very much inspired by my teenage self. She's not me, but she's very much inspired by the girl that I was. She's a little bit cooler. I said one time, if it was a direct retelling of my teenage years, like Emma and Connor never would have kissed because I, as a teenage girl, was like, like every time I tried to talk to a boy, like it would have been really, really boring.
Yeah.
But so similarly, the major characters in Emma's life are inspired by people in my life. Cher and Ruby are a mix of people that I love. I like to say Ruby, don't tell Cher, but Ruby is my favorite.
Okay.
And
Understandable.
So Ruby has a lot of my favorite things about some of my favorite people. And, same with Cher. She was inspired by, someone I was friends with growing up. And actually, like, it was a mix of someone I was friends with growing up and I went to college with. And, I take certain things from different people. And then Emma's family is very much inspired by my family. Like Emma's mom and dad and sister are pretty much a copy paste of my family.
Oh my goodness. I love that. I feel like reading as an adult, I think I can call myself that. I'm like 25
Yes,
at
absolutely.
this point. And like I can read it and like I can see where like things will be okay, or I can see like different things that are gonna happen. You kind of like are like, oh, I know exactly what this was like you're gonna get through it, it's gonna be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then especially when it comes to like the parents, you're just like, wow, like what great parents. But to like someone who's Emma's age, like she absolutely is going to be able to relate to the characters, maybe even get to identify them with her own friend group. And then it's also just be like, oh my gosh, why am I getting grounded for 2 minutes late? Like that sort of thing.
Yeah, I really wanted it to be, I want that's what I write when I inscribe the book for teenage girls. Like, I hope that they can see themselves in Emma's story. And like you mentioned, the tiniest thing feels like the end of the world when you are that age.
Yeah,
and hopefully we can see,
Especially.
even if you have a zit on your nose when you have to give a presentation, you're going to make it through. It's going to be okay. People are going to forget about it,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, even with the whole like nose scratching thing, at first I was just like, I think she's reading too much into this. But like, of course you are as a teenage
Right,
girl.
yeah.
Like, you're going to be thinking every single thing is important like that. And I think I think contextually it does end up like she being correct. But like, I liked how I had that moment where I was just like, I don't think they were being mean to you. But then you find out like, oh no, your sister's doing it. They're definitely making fun of you. Okay.
Yeah.
So the format of your story is very unique. Like, I don't think I've ever read it. I mean, if I have read something like it, I don't remember, right? But it goes through like April 22nd to May 21st, which is roughly 1 month, which is crazy because when I was reading it, I thought it was like a whole school year. And then I went back to fact check and I was like, that was the last month of the year? Okay. But like it's not only dated, but it's like timed and we have the location for each scene, kind of like what I imagine script writing is kind of like. So like what was the ethos? Like where did you get your inspiration? I need to know so much about this.
Yeah, so the diary style was inspired by books that I loved as a teenager.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard of the book Angus, Thongs, and Full Frontal Snogging.
I have not, but I'm writing that down.
By Louise Renison. It was pretty popular in the early 2000s, among my group of friends at least. And it's a whole series. It was really a huge inspiration in my writing. Their written diary style about a teenage girl named Georgia Nicholson. And I loved that format as a teenager. There's lots of places to stop. And as a former language arts teacher, I liked it too in thinking about teenagers reading it. Not every teenager is, like has the stamina to read like a super long chapter. So chunking it out,
right.
Can help with that. And I also was the kid. I was the kid who was like opening my book, like after I finished my work and like trying to get a little bit in. So, you just get like a little chunk in. But yeah, so it was really very much inspired by those books that I loved when I was a teenager. And the diary style itself, I really wanted to be able to showcase a teenager's brain, you know, and like all of those, like those late night entries where Emma's brain is just ping ponging back and forth between, you know, thoughts and scenarios and things like that. And I think to your point too, and this was not necessarily intentional, but the fact that Why Don't My Boobs Grow takes place over like a month, kind of shows too, just again, as a teenager, how big and important everything feels. Even though like in the grand scheme of things, it's only a month.
Yeah.
But Dear Boyfriend
crazy.
does pick up. So Dear Boyfriend starts then in September after she starts high school, and it goes through March.
Interesting.
And so I was having like a little bit like a bit of a crisis when I was editing Dear Boyfriend, and I was talking to my fabulous editor, Whitney, and I was like, do I need to make this a whole school year? Like that's generally what they are, books like this.
Right. Yeah.
And she talked me down and she's like, Why Don't My Boobs Grow wasn't. So there's that.
True.
And she said, your books are much more, you know, character driven versus plot driven. And then she said, and you're self-publishing it, so you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. And Whitney is right. Once again.
Yes. Generally speaking, Whitney is always right.
I know you from New Degree Press. I published my first book in late 2021 with them. And so I'm assuming, then correct me if I'm wrong, that your second book and your third book that you're writing right now is going to be self-published, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So how did you transition from like this hybrid publishing format to being self-published?
So first of all, I learned a lot working with NDP and through the hybrid publishing model, and like, which was great because I had no idea where to start. I just, I knew I wanted to publish a book, or I wanted to try to publish my book, and that was it. So it was a great way to learn about the publishing industry and make connections. I think that's one of the most important things I took from that, is making connections with other authors and editors and just, the writing community in general. But I knew that I wanted full control over my book when I was publishing my second book. And, there were certain elements of working, with the hybrid publisher I wasn't a huge fan of. So I just kind of went for it. I was like, okay, like I'm going to do this. And I'm the kind of person too, like I wrote the first draft, and that's all I worried about, is that I got the first draft done. And then I reached out to the editor I worked with through New Degree Press. And she also does freelance editing and coaching. And so, yeah, she's amazing. And so I met with her and kind of talked through some things and told her, like what I was thinking. And she gave me some resources and, and helped me out a lot. Shout out to Whitney. I love her.
We need a shout out.
Yes, no, absolutely. Shout out Whitney Magruder. Anyone listening, if you need an editor, look her up. Yes. But she really helped me like, you can totally do this. Like you can do it. So obviously it's, it was a lot of work. But in the end, I'm so glad that I did. I'm proud of Why Don't My Boobs Grow, but I'm also really proud of Dear Boyfriend because like I did it myself, You
did it.
So yeah, I think that was the biggest thing. And I also, I made a lot of friends within the writing community who were self-publishing as well. So I had other people that I could also go to and be like, hey, have you ever seen this? Has this ever happened? Like I had this weird issue with my ISBN on Ingram Spark when I was getting ready to publish Dear Boyfriend that I could not figure out. It took me forever, and I can't even remember what the issue ended up being. It was so annoying. And I like reached out to like everybody I could. And I eventually got it figured out. But you know, it's so much easier to do these things when you have a community supporting you. You have people that you can like rely on.
It always feels good to not be alone or like feel like you're doing things by yourself, because you never really do anything by yourself. You know this.
Yeah,
writing and publishing.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like the little teeny tiny details that are so important, like a space after a number. You don't think is that important, but it absolutely can be.
Yeah. So like for your second book and your upcoming third one, because I know this is part of the Emma Bishop series, are you hoping to do like an audiobook again for the second one?
So I just like surprise dropped it
Stop.
a few weeks ago. I did.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How did I miss that?
Yeah, no, it is okay. Yes, it was just like one day I was like, surprise.
Wow. Okay. How did you do that independently? I need to know.
Well, so when I did the audiobook for Wow My Boobs, I was obviously still working with New Degree Press. And so they walked me through like the whole process. And, you know, I did the audio myself. And
oh, wow.
As cool as it is that exists, I will never do it again.
Heard. Yeah, that sounds like a lot.
Oh my gosh, it was so much. And I was like super pregnant at the time also, and trying to start writing Dear Boyfriend. No, it was not my favorite time, Kailey, to be honest. But it's really cool. My husband gave me really great perspective once while I was doing it. He said, okay, someday, I have a 6-year-old daughter. He's like, someday she's going to be able to listen to you read your book. And I was like, okay,
that's true.
That got me through it.
Okay, let's go, husband.
Right? Yeah, he's a gem. So I knew I was not gonna do it myself. But I knew that I wanted to do an audiobook because I'm an audiobook girly. Like I started listening to audiobooks like a year and a half ago, and I am not exaggerating when I say that it's changed my life. Like, okay, I'm in a season of life. I have 2 small kids. Like by the time I lay down at night, I'm very tired, but I can listen to an audiobook while I brush my teeth and wash my face and do the dishes and drive to work and all of these things. And it brings me so much joy. And so I knew that I wanted, my books to be available in that format. And I want my books to be as accessible as possible. Right. I also knew that I wasn't about to be like shelling out $5,000 yeah. Or reading it myself. So I did it through ACX, which is like the parent company of Audible. And they make it really easy. Actually, like as long as your book is published like on Amazon, you can do it that way. And then I did a royalty share with the narrator. So basically, I didn't have to pay anything up front. She and I just split any royalties that come through, I think, for 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So the only downside is when you do it this way, it is exclusive to Audible.
Got you. But like, you're not a big traditionally published company.
Yeah. So I did it that way. And the narrator that I worked with was absolutely incredible. And she does such a fantastic job bringing Emma's story to life in that way. And I'm so glad that I found her because she did it 1,000 times better than I ever could have.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it wasn't, it was not nearly as stressful as it was the first time when I was doing the audio.
Gosh, I mean, I didn't raise enough money to get an audiobook. If we're being so honest right now. So I had no idea. Was that normal for you to have to read it yourself for the audiobook?
They gave you the option.
Oh, okay.
Yes, no, they gave you the option. And in the moment when I was like thinking about it, I was like, yeah, like I totally am going to do it myself. I don't know who the narrators are. I didn't.
Right.
Yeah, I just dove in and wasn't a huge fan of doing it. And I discovered while I was doing it, I'm pretty close to an airport. on the number of planes that fly overhead. Oh my gosh. It was infuriating. And then I would just have to sit here and wait for the plane to like go. It was, oh my gosh. Anyways, point being, I'm so glad that it exists. I won't be doing it again.
There you go. I like that attitude though.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course. Okay. I need to get past this audiobook thing because I feel like I might sit on it for too long. I mean, you're an active mom, so I'm sure you've been asked this before, but I have to ask anyway. Is like, how do you manage life and books, and how do you give yourself so much grace?
I am doing my best. And some days it feels like enough, and some days it doesn't. But to your point, I'm really trying to give myself grace and remind myself that I'm doing all of these things. Like you mentioned, I'm a mom. I have 2 small children. I have a full-time job. I work 40 hours a week. And then I also write and, do events and play on social media and, like all of the things that come along with
all the self-publishing things.
So I get up early in the mornings. That's when I do my writing, early? Do my book work.
How early, Rebecca?
My alarm goes off at 5.
And when do you get up?
I usually get up around 5:15, 5:30.
Okay, respect.
My goal is always to be at my desk by 6.
Okay.
It doesn't always happen. Yeah, so I use that time in the morning and then, do the kid thing, do the work thing. And there was a time when I was recording the audiobook for Why Won't My Boobs Grow, where I would do that and I would put my daughter to bed and I was pregnant, and then I would come back downstairs and I would record the audiobook. And I was like, this is too much. This is too much. So after I finished that, I decided like, it's okay. Like you can just lay in bed and eat some chips after the kids go to bed. Like there is nothing wrong with resting. So yeah, I move a little bit slower than some authors, which, comparison is the thief of joy. And I'm sure you can understand this too, like following so many other authors and seeing so many other authors' journeys. And it's like, oh my gosh, there's a woman I know who is incredible. We published our first books at the same time. She has 7 books now.
Oh,
and
wow.
I have 2.
Wow.
She's amazing. And she is able to just like churn them out. And I'm not, and that's okay. It doesn't make me less than. We work at different paces. And I was in a little bit of crisis earlier this year. Like really, I wanted to get this draft of the 3rd book done. And I was putting all of this pressure on myself. And then I like burnt myself out. And I was like, okay, it's okay not to write this first draft in 4 months. I started it in November, and I originally wanted to be done by April. It's still not done. It's June. But that's okay, she tells herself.
Right. I mean, you have to.
Yeah. And, I say all these things in this way and very confidently, and there is still, there's that voice in the back of my head oftentimes that's saying I'm not doing enough, or I'm not working fast enough, or I should be, making time for other things. But like I said at the start of the question, I'm doing my best and trying to give myself grace and remind myself that it's going to get done. I'm going to get the 3rd book out there, and hopefully, the people who love Emma's story are still going to be there waiting to read it.
They will be.
Thank you.
Like when I say that, it's because like I've lived it, like it's one of those things where like, especially when people take breaks off of social media, like the people who care will be there when you return.
Yeah.
I don't give myself a lot of grace. I don't think a lot of people who write give
No,
themselves
it's so
grace to begin
hard.
with.
It's so hard. Like, I talk a big game, but it's really, really hard.
I mean, yeah, but like I like that because like when you like are forcing yourself or at least like trying to shift yourself into that mindset, like the more it's going to be a reality rather than you faking it till you
Yeah,
make it, right?
absolutely. Well, even, an example is I was out of town this weekend. And so when I woke up this morning, my alarm was going off and I was just exhausted. But in the back of my head, I was like, oh, but you haven't written since Friday. You really need to get up. You need to get some words in. You want to get this draft finished. You know what I did? I snoozed my alarm 100 times and I snuggled with my dog and I slept until 6. And it's okay. The world did not crumble. And I can come back and write tomorrow and I'll probably be better because of it, because I took the day to rest today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if this helps because like sometimes I'll say things that are supposed to be inspirational and then they just sound sad. But like depending on where you are in the process, because it sounds like, you're still in the throes of writing the second draft, first draft, question mark?
The document is titled First Draft times 2.
Okay.
Because I didn't finish it before, but I came back to it and changed some things.
Okay.
So
I got
First
you.
Draft V2.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. The only reason I was I asked was because like just because you took a day to sleep in, like you weren't going to be finished with it if you worked on it that morning.
So true.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Like it will be okay. Just as long as you don't make every single day.
Yes, absolutely. I'm not giving up on the project completely because I skipped one day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I was tired and my body was telling me I was tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Well, thank you. Because we're writers. And if you are a writer, like I feel like you tend to not give yourself as much grace because you're just like, I need to do this. Like I need to get this complete. And and you're right, you do see the other people around you and it's very difficult to not compare even though you're not supposed to.
Absolutely.
Okay, I want to think this is like my hard-hitting question. So, we'll see how it goes. I literally cannot find it anymore. I scoured your Instagram, so maybe I missed it. Or maybe it didn't happen, but I'm confident it did because I don't know why I would have it. But I remember the shock of something that you posted where you described your book being rejected because the word boobs was in it. Yes. So like
it's still on my Instagram. I did not move it.
Okay. Then I did not scour as well as I thought.
Yes. No, you did not make that up. It absolutely did happen. Yes.
Okay. I was going to ask, like, tell us more about that experience.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, fabulous. Yeah. So what happened was I signed up to do a craft and vendor fair that happened to be taking place at a middle school. And in my brain, I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. Perfect. Middle school parents shopping. It was right around the holidays. It was like in December. Early December, I was like, this is fabulous. Anyone shopping for a teenage girl can find a nice gift. But a week or two before the event, or I don't know, maybe it was a couple weeks before the event, I got an email from whoever was running the event. And they were like, unfortunately, due to the title, cover, and content of your book, basically, we reject you. We cannot, I can't remember the exact wording, but you can't be part of this event. And I was like, WTF?
Yeah.
First of
what?
all. Number 2, yes, the word boobs is on the cover. However, I hate to break it to America, boobs is not a bad word. Also, they were like, your cover.
I know.
What is wrong with my cover? It is literally a teenage girl's face.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Pause real quick. not like I'm so ready for this fire. I do want to interject for a moment
Yes,
because
of course.
because when you said that, I was like, wait a minute, am I mistaken? Because it is a teenage girl, but I thought like there was a double entendre with like her blushies being like nipples. Am I crazy? Am I crazy right now?
That was not intentional.
Okay. It's okay if that wasn't the intention.
No.
That was just me being like, wow, that's so smart.
I kind of love it though.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Oh my gosh. I'm looking, I have like a copy over here.
Good.
Oh my God. That was not intentional, but I love it. And I might start telling people that.
Okay,
so
good. I'm so sorry to blow your mind right now, but I was like, wait. Do we not know?
No, maybe that's why they said the cover. Maybe they also thought they were nipples.
I mean, like, I think it's perfect. I still think that's not a reason to reject it. I was just like, wait.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. No, they were not meant to be nipples. It was just meant to be like her, she blushes a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was like, what is wrong with the cover? And I was like, clearly you didn't flip through, you didn't read the back cover, you didn't flip through it at all. You have no idea the content of this book.
Right.
And I saw it like super early in the morning. I don't know if I think my son was still waking up in the middle of the night.
Oh.
So they also sent it at a weird time. But I saw it like in the middle of the night. So then of course I was like stewing on it all night. And so when I finally got up in the morning, I sent a very simple reply and kept it cordial and just said, I'm really disappointed because, my book, as a former middle school teacher, I wrote this book for teenage girls, blah, blah, blah. The other thing is, it's not like it was a middle school event.
True.
It was a craft and vendor fair, like on the weekend. Like,
yeah,
fine. If you want to go there, not that I agree with this either, but if you want to go there and you're like, oh, we can't have you, present to a group of students during school, as a school sanctioned activity because your book title has the word boobs in it. Okay, I guess. I don't agree with it. But this is not a school sanctioned activity. This is a craft and vendor fair that happens to be taking place at a middle school. So oh my gosh, I was so fired up. And so of course I posted about it and the people were fired up for me as well. Oh my gosh. Which was lovely. And then I reached out to the principal of that school and I was like, I was so disappointed to hear that this happened. I would love to send your school library a couple copies of my book.
Oh my gosh, what happened?
They never responded. I know. It was such a bummer. But, I got to say my piece. I got to make my point. And, at least in my head, I got to be like the bigger person, be like, hey, let me send you a couple copies and show you what it's really about.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I love that.
Yeah, it was wild. But then actually a local library, again, libraries are the best. They're amazing.
They are.
One of the local libraries reached out and they're like, hey, we're doing a vendor fair that day. You want to come and hang out with us instead? And I was like, absolutely, I do.
Oh, I love that. Like the whole community came together.
Right? They were looking out for me.
When I saw that, I was just like, oh my gosh. Because like, okay, not only is that like, you hear about book censorship or like rejections and that sort of thing, but like I've never had someone who is self-published really get that sort of flack before, or someone that like I knew. And so like a part of me was just like, oh my gosh, that's awful. And another part of me was just like, wow, like Rebecca really made it. Like she, she has a banned book. Like, okay.
Yeah, that's what someone said to me too that day. They're like, you've made it. Like this is the big leagues.
Yeah, and I'm sure you do not feel like that at all.
No, oh gosh, no, absolutely not. I mean, like I will say, like if she got more circulation, I'm sure she would end up on one of those lists. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Because again, boobs. Oh, and the word penis is in it.
Yes.
I guess if they did look closely, maybe they opened up to that page in particular and saw the word penis.
Gosh, I don't know how they would. I feel like Amazon only lets you see like the first 3 chapters max.
Yeah.
Like that is far in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely interesting like what people consider like okay for their kids
Mhm.
to read. And it's definitely a hot topic right now. And so like that was why like I have to ask you about it because
Oh my gosh,
like
yes, absolutely. It's another thing. I can talk
yeah,
about
we
it
can
all
talk
day.
about it. Go for it. We have a moment. This is your
Yeah.
moment.
But yeah, I mean, it was infuriating, and I think the whole conversation around that is infuriating, and I think it just boils down to the fact too, like, especially in YA, like
Mm-hmm.
as a as a parent, then or as a reader, like, don't read it.
Yeah. Don't buy it.
Period. Like the whole that solves the entire problem. Um, Alas, that is not the world we live in right now.
No. That's why we love our local libraries.
Why we love our local libraries.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow. Like when you decided to title like Why My Boobs Won't Grow, um, like did you wrestle with the title? Because were you ever worried about this thing sort of happening?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely crossed my mind. And I mean, there are a number of reactions when people see the title of my book. One of them is like laughter and giggles. I'm
Right.
like, oh my gosh, I love this. Those are my favorite people.
That's your
The other,
audience.
yes, the other reaction is, and like a shuffle away, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Middle of the road, I have had a lot of people be like, oh, what, what's this about? And then
Mm-hmm.
they usually come around, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So yes, it absolutely, I did think about it when I was deciding on the title for the book, but I was kind of like, sorry, I hope I can swear.
No, I love that you stuck to your guns. Like
Yeah,
that
I
is
was
not
just,
like a diss on you at all. Like I was just
no,
genuinely
yeah,
curious.
absolutely. It's a valid question. Like, yes, and it absolutely did cross my mind, but I I think it does a good job. Like, this is like what she's worried about, like
Yeah.
something that in the grand scheme of things is not that important. But in the moment, and again, teenage me, I was obsessed with my boobs. Like, when were they going to grow? Like, come on. Everyone had boobs except for me. Um,
Dang.
so yeah, yeah. So once I decided, I was like, yeah, I'm absolutely going to go with this. And you know what? It's a great attention grabber.
It
I'll tell you
is.
that.
Yeah, no, I mean I love your titles. I love your chapter titles too.
Oh,
Like
thank
they were
you.
very fun and they hit every single time.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I love doing the chapter titles. It's always really fun.
Yeah, no, I think that was what I was going to mention earlier was like when you did the diary style, but then you also had chapter titles that were very engaging. And so like people who typically don't like to read like teenagers,
Hmm.
like they would be like they would gravitate towards it, kind of like how you mentioned with the diary style, something that they could digest.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, that yes, the goal is to like give a little tease and pique the reader's interest and hopefully keep them reading.
We have some fun random questions for you.
Ooh, fun. Okay.
Okay. So the first one is what's your favorite drink to have next to you while you write?
Coffee.
Great answer. Iced or hot?
Hot.
Ooh, okay. That's where we diverge.
And I even like I'll get a nice coffee in the summer sometimes, but even like I'm always making a hot coffee even in the summer.
Me, I'm drinking iced coffee no matter the time. Like it can be 30 degrees and I'm like, give me
Gosh,
iced.
no.
That's
I'm always so
it's
cold.
okay. Oh no. Okay, is it black coffee or is it like
Yeah,
lots of
black coffee.
creamer? Wow. Okay. Okay, a
Mhm.
classic. Okay, I can respect you with the classic black
I mean, it's
coffee.
boring, really.
Okay. But does it wake you up at 6 a.m.?
It does. And you know what? Like, I love it. Like, it makes me happy. Just like picking out my mug for the day and like having my coffee next to me. So,
I can respect that. The second one is what was the last book you gave 5 stars?
what did I just finish? Let me pull up my story graph.
Ooh, we're using Storygraph.
We're using Storygraph. We're also using Goodreads because, like, as an author, I need to. But I'm using Storygraph. I think I have one friend.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that because you're a better person than I am. I definitely use Goodreads.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Oh, that last book. Okay, wait. First Lie Wins.
Oh my gosh, I've actually read this one.
Oh,
okay. Yes,
it?
I think I also gave it a 5. Yeah,
it was really good, and it was one, like, I'm really in my thriller era right now. Like, I took a break from thrillers for a while, but I'm back, and I cannot get enough of them. So this was one that, like, I didn't guess what was going to happen.
How could you?
No, it was so good. Gosh. So good.
Yeah, no, I don't usually read thrillers, but I'm part of a book club, and for the month of January, the Reese, oh my gosh, Reese Witherspoon. Why can I not say her name properly? Like, she had that for the January.
Was it?
Read, yes, and oh my gosh, that was a wild thing to read. Like, going home for New Year's. Yeah. It was fantastic.
Can I also add? Yeah. I also just recently read Pride and Prejudice for the first time.
Excellent. What did you think?
I can't believe that I have spent 36 years not being obsessed with this book.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, like, I'm so glad that I've read it now, obviously, but, like, I could have.
Yeah.
I've missed out on so much time.
No, that's so fair. Like, embarrassingly, as, like, just a woman in general, my husband was the one who introduced me to Jane Austen. So I know his mom, like, brought him up right.
Oh my gosh!
And so, like, yeah. So I got introduced to Jane Austen with Pride and Prejudice 2005, which I will hold as my favorite.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then lastly, what is a song you've connected with your books? I know.
That's a hard one. I do have, like, playlists, but I'm the kind of person that I can't write with music. Like, I have to write, it has to be quiet.
Really?
Yes. I can't.
Wow.
I can't do music. I can do it when I'm editing sometimes, but not when I'm, like, drafting.
Wow.
But there's a song from, I think it's Fearless, Taylor's version.
Ooh.
It was, like, a track from the Vaults called When Emma Falls in Love. I think that's the title.
Cute.
It is. And I was like,
you're just like,
is this made for me, Taylor? Thank you so much.
Yeah, from the Vault. Oh, that's so. That means that she didn't release it originally, right?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, this was literally made for you. That's incredible.
Right? So,
and it was the Speak Now album.
Oh, Speak Now. See,
Yeah, no, you're totally fine. It's the purple dress one.
Yeah, okay, and that's what I was thinking too. My daughter was, like, purple dress Taylor Swift for Halloween this year, so I should have known.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. It was really cute.
That's precious. Now I have to ask one more question. I'm so sorry.
No, don't
be. Is her name Emma?
No, her name is Lucy.
That's okay. Lucy is still a very good name.
Thank you so much for having me. This was such a fun conversation.
I'm actually really glad too. Like, this was a very nice convo.
Yeah.